Hello everyone, welcome back all warriors of light or darkness to our next video. We are going to be discussing a very quick summary of what we learned from the last letter from the producer from late last night. Now for those of you who aren't aware of it, Square Enix just held the 56th live letter during their 14-hour broadcast. We won't go into too much detail about the whole broadcast. What this video is all about is going to be our first look at what is waiting for us in patch 5.2. Now, the presentation began with the announcement that Final Fantasy XIV has reached 18 million registered accounts worldwide. And yet, it still takes forever to queue for a dungeon if you're a DPS. Anyway, first things first, we're going to talk about what is coming up for us in the patch of 5.18, which is the next patch for the game if you want to be specific. I think it's the last one for the year, and this is what we know about it so far. It's scheduled to come out December 24th or Christmas Eve. And with this patch, we are going to be having the weekly restrictions from Eden, both normal and savage mode, removed, so you can run through it as many times as you want and earn as many rewards as you want. They will also be having the Deep Shadow Sovereign, which is going to be purchasable from the manufactured coins, which you earn once a week through the copied factory. And with this, you can improve your Deep Shadow gear. And they are also going to be having Season 14 of the Feast also beginning here, so that's big news for those who love playing PvP. But that's everything that we have for 5.18. Now for the big one of 5.2. So of course, since it's just the first preview, we don't have the trailer or even the artwork yet, and we're probably not going to be getting that at least until the next letter from the producer. But we do have a new title, which is going to be called Echoes of a Fallen Star. And is it me, or are these titles getting longer and longer? Anyway, it is scheduled for mid-February, so I'm gonna guess at around February 11th or the 18th. That's my best guess. So what can we be expecting? Well, of course, the biggest thing, at least for me, would be the new main scenario quest. So we actually were given a quick screenshot. We have a picture of Oddbert, or the Oddbert lookalike, who has those kind of creepy blank eyes. We still don't know what this is all about. We don't know what's going on here or who this guy really is, because we know what happened with Oddbert. He fused together with the Warrior of Light, so it's not the real Oddbert, that much we know. But I am expecting something good from this one, Square Enix. Oddbert was such a great character throughout Shadowbringers, and I don't want to see anything that's going to do his character any disservice. We have the new instance dungeon known as the Anamnesis Endler. And yes, this is also going to be the trust system compatible, and so you can go straight into it with one of your favorite characters if you don't want to go through all the trouble of the duty finder. But moving on, they made a rather sad announcement, if you ask me, that from this moment on, we're only going to be having one dungeon from this moment on with every new patch. I guess that with all they have in store for us in these future patches and all this going on, I guess they only had enough time to really focus on just one dungeon. As for the new dungeon, we don't know anything about it. We don't even know if it's going to be part of the main scenario questline yet. But we do know that it's going to be somewhere in Amarant, at least judging from the artwork that we see here. You can see traces of the buildings, the spiral tops in the back, and what looks like a tiny person here. I don't know if that is an Amarantian or if it's one of our characters or someone else of significance. We don't know anything other than the basic artwork. Either way, it does seem that we might have a few new secrets about Amarant revealed to us, which is always going to be exciting. Moving on, we have more information about a new tribe quest, and I had actually been wondering about that because that we could actually fall back on here other than the pixies, so I am surprised that they came up with one though. It's still going to be in Norvrant, but it's going to be through the Kitari, which is the first versions of the Ratman Kukurin. Now we see a glimpse of them in this picture here. We see them in the Great Woods speaking with the Knights Blessed. Don't know what this is going to be about yet, but we do know it's going to be focusing on the gathering, which kind of makes sense because if you look at it, we have so much for crafting, but not as big a deal for the gatherers. I myself am not too fond of gathering just because it takes so long, But it seems to me like we might be helping this new tribe with perhaps business ventures across Norvron, since we have seen a few Kikurin across Eorzea who actually own businesses. Moving on, we have the new Chronicles of a New Era quest. I was actually looking forward to this because I wasn't sure they would be able to still do that while we're in Norvron. But it's about time if you ask me. So this is going to be a brand new series known as the Sorrow of Willeth. Now, it looks like we're going to be seeing more of Gaius and the Gimlet Dark. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to go along these borders, maybe learn more about the provinces, learning more about the struggles of the resistance fighters here. Maybe we work together with Gaius and these other rebellion groups as we start to prepare ourselves to when the day will come when we head off into the lands of Garlemald. I would love to see that. I love Gaius. I just think he's a great character. I do want to see us work at least a little bit more with him, at least learn more about what's going on, and that's what it looks like here. Also, we're going to be learning more of the new trials. We have been wondering for some time what the next trial is going to be, because we already had Innocence, we had Titania, and we had Hades. Now, those were a given, but I was predicting that we have 3 or 4 more trials that are going to be waiting for us. At least that's kind of the pattern that we expect at this point, especially with the special mounts. But we weren't entirely sure what we could be getting from these. But now we have a name for the brand new trial that's coming out for us, and it's going to be called the Ruby Weapon, both normal and extreme mode. Not entirely sure what the Ruby Weapon is going to be if I had to guess. I would say that maybe this is going to be part of some kind of secret weapons that Garlemald is trying to design. Because we did see kind of a trace of that back at the end of 5.1, where we had Estinian going up against like this alternate version of the Ultima weapon with somebody fused to it. So I was thinking like maybe something along those lines. But they were keeping most of it a secret. We don't know the name of the new beast that we're going to be up against. We don't know if it's going to be a primal or maybe another Sin Eater or even just like some powerful weapon. We know nothing about that. But speaking of primals, we're going to be moving on to the next step for Eden, which is going to be called Eden's Verse, both normal and savage mode. So we're going to be having at least 4 more special fights, and I'm predicting that only 2 of them are going to be primals, and we're going to be restoring just 2 elements to the land this time. We know at least one of them thanks to some artwork that has been done. So we see like this platform, like it looks like the middle of the ocean. It's kind of hard to tell. It actually reminds me a lot of the Thunder Plains from Final Fantasy X. But we see a lot of thunder and lightning going on in the background. So this is pretty much confirmed for us, is that one of these fights is going to be against Ramuh. And I can't wait to see what his new look is going to be like. So I'm guessing that 2 of these fights are going to be somewhat different. Perhaps one of them is going to be like an upgraded version of Eden, and maybe another fight with like the Oracle of Darkness. We still don't know anything about her or anything else about that. And the remaining 2 fights are going to be primals. And since we're going to be restoring 2 elements, one of them is definitely going to be lightning. We still have either fire, ice, or wind. So apart from Ramuh, we can be expecting either Ifrit, Garuda, or Shiva. And let me tell you, I can't wait to see what they do with Shiva. Especially since we do have like a special connection with Shiva. We'll also be having the new quest series for the upgradable equipment, and they say that a new venture is going to begin with all of this, and so this is going to be the Shadowbringers version of Eureka, from what I understand so far. They're keeping it all a big secret for the time being, but what we do know for sure is that it's going to be involving the Boja Citadel, which was home to the Hrothgar. And for those of you who have done the Gunbreaker questline, you know that the Boja Citadel was once this large city that was under Garlean rule, and it was this incident that put a halt to the Meteor Project for at least 10 years since it was accidentally destroyed from their experiments. We also learned that it was the land where Sid's father was also accidentally killed during this whole incident, which caused the accident and brought the land to ruin, which eventually led to Sid defecting to Eorzea. Once more, it looks like we're going to be learning more about the lands in Garlemald, kind of setting us up to when we do finally cross that border and into Garlean lands. And I can't wait to see where this is going to. We know that the story is going to continue on in future updates in 5.2. Perhaps we're even going to be able to actually go into the remains of this city and, I don't know, like maybe help people learn more about the history here, about what happened, like what really caused all this accidents and all the loss of life. We don't know for sure, but can't wait for that. Alright, so we're going to be moving on to maybe stuff that isn't as exciting or as fun. But we do have some job adjustments that are going to be waiting for us, some new PvP updates, including new actions which are going to be adjusted. And then we're going to have the update to the Ishgardian Restoration. And since it wasn't too long ago that the Ishgardian Restoration was first introduced to Eorzea, I don't think that we're going to be getting it with the initial release date. I'm thinking that we're going to have to wait at least a month before we can get that. I'm thinking that maybe 5.25 or something like that before we're actually introduced to the second part of the Ishgardian Restoration system. But what looks like we can be expecting is the changes to the Diadem. Now, for those who don't remember, the Diadem was introduced way back in Heaven's Ward. I think it was in 3.1, where we can actually fly off to like these series of floating islands and you can do these special fates, earn special rewards. But because it wasn't as popular as they were hoping for, they were expecting people to be able to go through that like for years to come. But since it's really not a place that people go to anymore, this place is now being redesigned as content exclusively for gatherers. So after you reach at least a level 10 with any of the Disciples of Land, you can enter from the Fragment, and you don't need to use the Cerulean tanks to actually go into this place anymore. Instead, you'll be able to go here to gather items, which will be used specifically for the restoration of Ishgard. And you can earn new Sky Builder scripts, which you can then trade for awesome items. And you can just gather while you're moving from island to island. You don't need to fear about being attacked by enemies. And in addition to being able to gather these non-collectible items for the reconstruction effort, this area is also going to be useful in being able to gain experience points at nearly any level. And as you continue through the Diadem, you're going to be charged with a gauge that will allow you to use the Athometer Magic Agor. Not entirely sure what that whole thing is going to be about, except that you can use this on creatures in the wild to obtain additional items. There's also going to be some new expert recipes that are going to be waiting for us. It was only a matter of time before we got some of those. New collectible items are going to be added. Expert recipes are going to be used to earn greater rewards. And expert recipes will also trigger status with other than poor, good, and excellent. So this is just going to be a lot more updates for those who specialize in a lot of crafting and just want to make things a little bit more interesting. And you can actually use these to your advantage, so it's going to be easier to increase the item quality. We're also going to be having something new added to the gold saucer. It seems like they are determined to add something new to the saucer every time that a new patch comes out. This time we have the Koopa of Fortune. You can receive these scratch-off tickets after contributing a certain number of items, and these tickets can be used to redeem certain various rewards. Again, I'm not entirely sure if this is exclusively to the gold saucer. This is just what I personally think when I hear the words Koopa of Fortune. This is a new system that's going to commend those who contribute greatly to the reconstruction effort, and separate rankings for each crafting class and gathering class is actually going to be lined up every week. And there's going to be separate rankings for both the crafting and the gathering classes, and you can earn points for each class whenever you contribute specific items. Now, class ranking will be tally-able during a 10-day period after the update is released, and results for each world will be announced on the logstone, and the special titles are going to be rewarded to the top-ranked crafters and gatherers. There's also going to be other achievements and rewards that's going to be granted based on your contributions. So there's a lot that's going to be coming for us, not only from the Ishgardian Restoration, and speaking of which, there's going to be new actions for the crafting and gathering system as well. And there's going to be new features to estimate the effects of your next action. It's going to be easier to desynthesize stacked items. There's going to be party requirements for company crafting is going to be removed. And there's even going to be brand new fishing updates, which is about time if you ask me. I mean, fishing is not really my favorite gatherer job, to be honest, but it's pretty much been the same for a very long time now. There's barely been any updates to it. I mean, apart from the fact that you can get a kind of a spear for spear fishing, but that's really about it if you ask me. So what can we be expecting from the fishing updates? Well, the required level for the following fisher actions has now been lowered, such as patience, precise hook sets, and powerful hook set. And the fish and tugging animations are going to be made easier to tell. So basically, whenever you catch a fish, it's going to be able to get your attention a lot more. And a new all-purpose lure is going to be added. So that might make it easier to catch the rarer fish, or it may be at least a higher quality of fish. There's also going to be the Sky Steel tools. Now these are primary tools that are going to be able to be upgraded over the course of multiple patches, and it all looks like it begins with a quest in the fragment, and you can craft or gather specific items to enhance these tools. The materia system has also made some changes. Equipment will no longer be lost when creating materia. Crafter class and requirements for affixing materia is going to be removed, and any crafter can affix materia provided that they meet the level requirement. And then we have the next big thing for the ocean fishing. I said so before, we needed a new update for the fisherman job, and it's about time we got something like this. It's the ocean fishing, where it's going to be fisher exclusive content. This is where you're going to be able to board a ship at specific times and be able to enjoy fishing up on the high seas. And if you meet certain conditions while you're on board, it will grant you and all the other passengers the chance to pull in a big haul. Anyway, that looks like all that we know so far for the crafting and gathering. A lot of information. They're really focusing a lot on rebuilding and gathering in this particular expansion. But now we're just going to be moving on to just a few cute details that we can also be looking forward to. There's going to be a brand new Allagan tombstone, which is going to be added. And we're going to have additional New Game Plus chapters. So I'm guessing maybe job quests or special side quests. Not sure about that yet, but we'll find out. The rank increase for free companies. So for those active free companies out there who do a little bit of everything, I guess, this is something you're going to be able to look forward to. There's going to be new courses in the Gold Saucer for the Leap of Faith, which is about time too, because I was starting to get kind of bored of that. Fellowships can now be viewed in the companion app, and this is a very interesting idea. Umbrellas are now going to be added. I'm not entirely sure why that would be. I mean, was there a big demand to put in umbrellas? I don't know, but yeah, that's what they're going to be adding. Umbrellas is now going to be added. Alright, and we're almost done here, so we're just going to mention a couple more quick things. They did show off some new merchandise. At the end of the live letter, we got to see the upcoming Final Fantasy XIV merchandise. And at the beginning, we did see a couple cute plushies here. I mean, we see MXL, we see Garatia, we see Kryl, there's Tataru, and even Hildebrand. So those are so adorable. I would love to have one for Christmas. Too bad my family says they already got me like enough strange things for Christmas, but we'll find out. But hey, that will be for next year, I hope. But moving on to the rest of the merchandise, we have the Arts of Reflection, the History's Forsaken art book for Final Fantasy XIV. Now, this is going to be launching in Japan on March 31st, and we're probably going to be getting a release of it in North America and in Europe in sometime around May. Additionally, in Japan, if you can also buy a set of Doming Mahjong tiles, as well as the Mahjong table mats. However, that's going to be available on March 23rd in Japan only. And the last thing I just want to mention real quick was the Final Fantasy XIV Fan Festival of 2020 and 2021. It's that time again to say that the Fan Festival will be coming back to 2020 and 2021. We don't have too many more details about that, except that it's going to be some time off in the future. It's probably not going to be around at least until next October or next November at the very earliest. But yeah, so that's everything that we know so far for the upcoming patches. That was a lot of fun. I hope that everyone's going to be looking forward to it. I hope that it's going to be amazing. I really can't wait to see what they do with patch 5.2. Generally, how they do things is that once they finish an expansion, we get the first patch after that where we go around kind of cleaning up the mess that was left behind. We reassure the people, we help stabilize everything, and then we move on to the second new patch, which is going to be kind of setting everything up for the third patch, which is going to be kind of like the final battle for the expansion, and then the remaining patches are kind of just setting the groundwork for what we could be expecting for the next expansion. So that's kind of what everyone is expecting here so far. I mean, if Square Enix is going to change it up, now would be a really good time to do so. But from what I see so far, it does look like it's going to be setting everything up for like this really big, amazing clash that's going to be happening in the third patch. I really am excited to know what's going to be coming for us next. At the same time, I'm terrified because, I mean, who is that guy at the end of 5.1 who is speaking with Xenos? Who is he? Like, what is going on? What is Xenos' plans? And most importantly, at least to me for the time being, who is this guy? Because I cannot for the life of me figure out who he is. I mean, I know what happened to Artbook. I mean, he merged together with the Warrior of Light. And we know what happened to the other Warriors of Darkness who came before, or I guess in this case they were still Warriors of Light, one or the other. We know that they became Sin Eaters. We do know that they gave their lives and traveled to the source so that they could try to bring about another calamity and just reduce everything to the live stream before the light completely swallows them all. But eventually their bodies were discovered and turned into Sin Eaters, but we never did find Oddbird's body. That's all I had to say. Anyway, everyone, that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and we're going to be looking forward to what they have in store for us next. So, until next time, everyone, I hope you all have a good day, and have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Bye-bye.